Oh, our new plow guy came. We have a plow guy. New one. He charges twice as much as what the last guy did, but that's still like not that bad. Because our last guy, I think, just gave us a really good deal.
It's twice as much.
Well, we were paying $20, and now it's $40 per plow session.
Is he the kind of person that comes every 6 inches and then makes you pay every 6 inches?
Yes. Or 3 to 4 inches, like whatever. It's like generally like but it's not like, but you can also, he'll kind of send an email and what's up?
Just a lot of talk of plow and how much you have to pay
per 6 inches. And what's amazing is that my mind, which is normally in the gutter, did not even question any of that. I was like, yeah, no, every 6 inches. Yeah. Oh, this guy comes to plow.
Great. It's great. We have a cold open. It's awesome.
There you go.
There we go. We did it, guys. Yeah.
And now we can go straight into the show. Wait, what?
Well, how much do you pay for plowing?
I just did it. I just did it one winter, and it was like, I don't know, it was like $35 and it was like one big snowstorm, so it was like $120, and I was like, never again. I'm just gonna shovel.
Oh yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, I shovel like a lot when it's smaller amounts. I think this guy won't, like, he's not going to come throughout a storm. It's usually like he'll wait until the end.
This person came throughout the storm.
Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, they're taking advantage of it.
It was awkward.
It's like, no, you just wait until it's mostly done, and then when people need to like go someplace. And he also is like, just email me if you need me. But otherwise, I'll probably show up this day when things taper off, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's like pretty reasonable about it. Although he did randomly come twice this time. And I was like, the second time I was like, didn't really need it, but I'm not going to question it. We're going to just like sit back and see how this goes. So, okay. I'm excited for this mysterious quiz. I hope it's easy.
I don't know if it's going to be easy or not.
We will find out as soon as we get to it, which will happen right as the show begins, which is right now. Welcome to another episode of Pajiba, the Pajiba television podcast. I'm Pajiba comedy editor Dan Hamamura. With me, as always, are Pajiba managing editor Tori Preston.
Hello, Dan.
Hello, Tori. And the official makeup provider for Sue's soot face, Dustin Rolls.
Hello, Dan. Hello, Tori.
Dustin, when you tend to the fire, do you end up covered in soot like Sue?
I do not. No, never. How are my levels?
Why are you asking now?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We've started the show. You could have asked a long time ago. They seem fine.
Just curious. Oh, good. All right.
You sound like a normal person for once.
Are you asking during the portion that will definitely be in the show, so that like our listeners will believe that you are like
making an
effort about your audio?
Being proactive about your audio. I like that.
Dustin, there's been a marked improvement. Marked, right?
Marked.
Yeah. You've improved, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
I try to enunciate a little bit more, but the more I drink, the more I forget. So apologies. I'm a mumbler.
I don't think you need to apologize, because I think that's true for all of us. The more we drink,
sure.
I'm sure we all sound a little worse.
Plus, that's part of the charm, is that the two of us can be heard clearly most of the time. And with Dustin, everyone's like, what is he saying?
Wow.
No. But now, because now your microphone is great.
Yeah.
And in the right place, usually.
And when you hit the table accidentally, you're not ringing everybody's ears.
Right.
Right.
That seems to have cleared up. And I don't hear the telltale jingle jangle of ice cubes tonight. So.
No, I didn't put ice cubes in my beverage so that I wouldn't make a noise. And I got a very large mason jar to put it in one so that I wouldn't have to refill it.
And what is it that you're drinking?
It's the drink that I of choice now, which is vodka, grapefruit juice, and seltzer. I really, really dig it.
And so you now have a large mason jar, like a spaghetti jar, full of vodka and grape juice. Nice. I don't know if that's enough. I feel like you're going to finish that.
It might not be. That's true.
Yeah.
But I will have to get up early in the morning to shovel. So I can't drink too much.
Mm.
But also vodka, I don't even notice it until like it's beyond, you're way beyond it mattering anymore. You're like, oh, well, I guess I had too much to drink.
Too late. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with vodka.
Though I got Kettle One. Is that the name of the vodka? Yeah. At Costco this weekend, like one huge thing for like the same price as like a regular one at the regular grocery store.
Yeah, now that you have a Costco membership, you've learned the joys of the excessive alcohol.
Are you guys
hoping that I'll notice in a few weeks that it's we're saving money somehow? Right now, it seems to be very large purchases at Costco.
Yeah. I have not. That's one of the reasons I haven't. And I'll be honest. The only reason I've considered getting a Costco membership isn't necessarily to save money or to get large quantities of toilet paper. It's because every once in a while somebody reminds me that they'll do the entire ham leg that you can carve, and I'm like, I want that. Like the Costco, big ham leg.
Yeah.
I really want that. So have you guys gotten that at Costco?
I have not, no. But we've only been members for 2 weeks.
I don't know that they've ever brought that to California. I've never seen it at the California Costco. Also, I don't know that it would be. I feel like it'd be wasted on our house.
Really? I think it's like. I feel like it's like Serrano ham.
It is. It's just I don't think we would eat enough ham to justify it.
I would normally agree with you, except that what I have discovered now that I've so like Trader Joe's has this like fancy charcuterie pack that they make now that's like really good chorizo and really good, like, I don't know, it's great. They bring it out around the holidays. It's way more expensive than their other meats packs, but it's so good. I just will go and buy like 3 of them and then just eat them. Like that is my television snack, is like that and cheese, and I just eat it. And so what I've realized is that it's not a question of whether I would eat the ham, it's that I will eat all of the ham that is available.
Right.
So if I have a charcuterie pack, I will eat that, and I will eat it in 1, maybe 2 nights. I have to like stop myself to make it last 2 nights. If there's a leg of ham, I will eat it.
They have a nice charcuterie pack at Costco that I saw, and I was like, I'm not going to get that because that is like 3 days for a family of 5 easily, and I would probably eat that by myself.
Yeah, that's why it's great. My husband calls it when he goes shopping, he's like, I got your night meats, and I'm like,
oh, night meats.
Jesus, Juan, God,
that's great.
It's really adorable. We now that
it's
is
a
now
family show.
Dustin, it's not gross. It's adorable. How dare you? Not accurate. like you and your plow.
Yeah.
Hunt.
I don't know why you're attaching a value to this. It is just strictly accurate.
It's the meat I eat at night.
At night. All right.
All right. Well, we know Dustin's drinking his regular grapefruit vodka thing now from a jar. Tori, what are you drinking?
I have gone back to the last can of my Framboise raspberry sour beer.
Oh.
I did it because what I've been noticing is that when I have my little canned cocktails, they are gone halfway through the show, and I don't go up to get another one because I can't really do 2. And so I'm like, the beer, it's taller. Maybe it will last me through the whole show. Maybe I will not be dry halfway through and stuck. I don't know. It's a struggle though. What is the perfect amount of alcohol to see us through an entire recording session?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, mason jar.
Yeah, mason jar seems right.
Well, maybe.
Or pod jibe a mug of whiskey, depending on, I have some kind of Canadian whiskey that is First Street, which is. Do you guys have Smart and Final?
No,
I don't think so. I think it's just West Coast. It's like a mid-tier grocery chain, but they have their own house brand. Like they're kind of like they're like a regular grocery store, but they try to be like, we're like Costco, but you don't have to pay for a membership because we'll sell you like things in bulk that are our own brand.
Yeah.
So this is their brand of Canadian whiskey, and I don't know, tastes like whiskey. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It does the job.
Speaking of Canadian, this is completely unrelated, but I'm really enjoying the Earth Abides. I watched the second episode tonight. I really dig it. It stars Alexander Ludwig, who you guys made out from various things.
Yeah.
He is Canadian, and I saw he's also a country musician. So I looked it up to listen to his country music, and it was good, pretty generic, solid country music, but he has a deep Southern twang. And I'm like, you are Canadian. Why do you have a Southern twang? Is it just something you put on to sing country music?
Yeah.
Dustin, Nickelback has a Southern twang.
Are they Canadian? Oh, yeah, they're Canadian too. Wait, they have a Southern twang?
Yeah, sometimes.
I'm pretty sure
the band
the south of Canada. It's where most of the people are. There's not a lot of people in the north of Canada.
But do they have Southern accents?
They have Southern country Canada? Music.
Well, famously, the band is Levon Helm from Arkansas, and then the rest of the guys are Canadian.
Seems like a good balance. He's got the one guy for authenticity.
Right.
Yeah. Also, Canada is actually more like heartland than America is, like from a percentage standpoint.
Yeah.
Sure, but they still don't speak with accents.
Do you know that, or are you assuming that?
Have you ever
I
been?
assume.
Have you ever
that
been?
They don't
Dustin?
have. It's like one of my favorite bands is Old Crow Medicine Show, and they're very Southern. Although, like the lead singer went to like Exeter in New Hampshire, and like it's very clearly put on. But he's been doing it for so many years that I think it's just
it's fine. Yeah, at a certain point, it has become authentic.
Yeah,
right.
Like, you have leaned all the way in. Wait, so go back to Earth Abides. Is it you're still enjoying it?
Oh yeah, I watched.
Now you've got like that and Silo going on at the same time. Like, which one are you kind of?
I like Silo. Earth Abides. Right now, what I'm really enjoying is sort of like the post-apocalyptic competence porn, because they're like they have to figure out stuff and how to like live and what to do, how to put up like solar cells.
So it's like The Martian.
I mean, there's some elements of that in this week's episode. Like one day, just thousands of rats showed up. And they're like, "What the fuck?" And then tried to get into the house. And they're like, "What the fuck do we do?" And then they realized the dog was stuck outside with the rats. And they're like, "Oh no, we have to get the dog before the rats eat the dog."
Did the rats eat the dog?
No, they, he got bitten quite a few times, but they were able to let the dog in, although several rats also got in.
Yeah.
At the same time.
So remind me, so do we know what apocalypse occurred and how long has it been since it occurred?
So they don't really explain the apocalypse except that almost everyone died.
Right.
And this show, it looks like it's going to take place over the course of like decades. So right now we're about 2 years into it.
Okay.
And he's found a friend, and now they're like a couple. So they're two, and then she just had a baby, so now they have 3.
Oh. Very friendly.
But I think that they're going to find more people, and then there's probably going to be a bad guy who's played by Aaron Tveit. Is that how you say it?
Oh, yeah. From Schmigadoon.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I don't think he's going to sing, though.
That's a bummer.
That's fine.
Maybe that's his thing. Maybe that's
you
his
don't know,
villain
Dustin.
thing. I bet they have a lot of campfires.
Station 11 has shown us that people still need art in the apocalypse.
Yes.
That's true.
So I was actually I wanted to run this by you. I was thinking about kind of post-apocalyptic, like, genre pieces. Because what occurs to me is that, like, obviously most post-apocalyptic shows or movies are they're sci-fi, but they usually occur, like, they're post-apocalyptic. They occur after the apocalypse. We don't have a lot of just think the apocalypse is occurring currently, except for zombie things, which are horror. So we have very few shows that pick up on a zombie apocalypse in the post-apocalypse, unless they're like sequels where we're continuing forward in time. We always kind of have to establish the zombie apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
But most other apocalyptic entertainment just cuts straight to the post-apocalypse. I mean, I guess there was like that, what was it, 2047, whatever. I feel like there was one, or 2012, or one where it was, I want to say it was like Jake Gyllenhaal and maybe like climate change.
Oh, are you talking about 2012?
I remember that.
Which was Cusack and Amanda Peet?
Probably. Did I just assume? Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal
it's not
in that
really,
era
it's
was
not really,
kind of
it's not really climate
change. It's like
change.
a natural disaster film.
Well, it's like it's more like a disaster movie.
Roland Emmerich
so we had,
or something.
Right, yeah. So we had, like, we'll do kind of the disaster movies, which obviously are like, okay, this is happening. But usually it's right. But most of the stuff we go straight to post-apocalypse. And I always think it's interesting. We don't show it happening. We're only interested in the aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
But zombie stuff, because it's horror, because it's always, like, we always kind of know as soon as you say zombie, it has to be horror genre. And the scariest part is when people are facing the unknown. So it's like, okay, we want to see them facing the zombies.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if they continue as a series or something, you will eventually get to the post-apocalypse where everyone's like, yeah, we kind of know how to deal with zombies. We're on to, like, how to deal with people who are also evil.
Right. Yeah. And even this, like, he gets bitten by a snake and then wakes up 3 weeks later and everyone's dead. So
you don't just really kind of blow right over it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is slightly different, but it pops in my head only because I really want to do a rewatch. But Battlestar Galactica doesn't, like, the miniseries is the apocalypse happening, essentially. And then the series is post-apocalypse.
Right. That's true. And I think for that, it was really important to see it because it's the enemy, because of the nature of the enemy. And I think that's where it's so interesting, because I think a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff, it's either there is no real enemy, it's whether it's natural disaster or some system failure, or, something happens that's sort of like faceless in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Even a bomb, it's like you can say there's an enemy, but it's really about this thing occurring. Battlestar Galactica, it was about the ongoing struggle with the Cylons. So you kind of had to see, like, what the hell the Cylons did. But that's true. That's one that actually really in one continuous unit goes from the apocalypse straight through.
Mm-hmm.
God, that shit is good.
The first part of this, like, the enemy was basically boredom and loneliness.
Yeah.
So it was more like Last Man on Earth.
Yes, but not funny. I mean, it's not funny. I mean, it's not funny,
but not
it's
Will
not
Forte
like
being a
grim.
Genius.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Anyway, I had nowhere to go with this. I just was thinking about zombies and apocalypses at some point.
I appreciate that. I will say, though, that The Walking Dead picks up, like, after Rick wakes up from his coma, so you've missed the apocalypse, the beginning.
You missed the initial part.
Fear the Walking Dead, the prequel, goes back to it and to the beginnings, and it's so bad and so boring that within 6 episodes they're done with that, and they're like, we don't want to do that, because that's the movies, that's the zombie movie, that's an hour and a half, that's all you need.
Right, exactly.
And they wanted the whole show to be set during that, but it just got so tedious.
Whereas I think a lot of other zombie stuff, it's so interesting because it falls apart when they move into the post-apocalypse. Mm-hmm. So like, 28 Days Later was a unique one where, because again, it's like a guy wakes up and kind of comes out and has to figure out what's going on. And then they obviously did 28 Weeks Later, and now there's going to be 28 Years Later. So like that is one, sort of the exception to the rule. But, you don't often find properties that like either cut straight to it's zombies everywhere or can make it out of, like, I was thinking about Train to Busan did it well, where Train to Busan is the zombie outbreak and it's very tense and it's great. And then they did a sequel and everyone was really resistant to it. And I actually ended up loving it, but it's about like the people who survived having to go back into a quarantine area where the zombies are. And it's literally that Zack Snyder Netflix zombie movie, like what was it, Army of the Dead, whatever the one he did, where like it was, they send him into Vegas.
Oh, right.
It's that log line, but like Korean. Yeah, I don't know.
Was it a heist in that too?
It was no, it wasn't a heist, but it was to go back and find, like, there was this billionaire who had some money on a truck, and he hires these mercenaries who were survivors to go back in and locate the money. And it's all about like, what would it take for you to like to go back into a zombie apocalypse? Mm-hmm. Like how much, you got out, what would it take to get you to go back in? And it's all like, it's American dollars. It's an American billionaire. There's a whole lot of commentary on like refugees and kind of America. I don't know. It was good. I liked it, but yeah, it just seems like it's the time jump you always talk about. And Walking Dead kind of started just after and continued, but mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's just that it's horror. And I don't know why we don't consider other post-apocalyptic stuff usually is not horror.
That's true.
Because it's like, we're just, because it's another genre, it's like, yeah, like we don't need to see the apocalypse because that would be scary. We're dealing with the drama of the human condition or something. Right. Or it's so far in the future that the whole mystery is trying to figure out what the apocalypse was, which I'm assuming is kind of Silo.
Yes, and Silo, I will have to. That's getting a little frustrating to me because I thought when she got out, it would be the big reveal that people were actually alive, but now they aren't, and now she's trying to get back to save her people. But that means that Rashida Jones is dead.
Yeah,
which is really upsetting.
Wasn't she definitely dead?
She was definitely dead. She was
See, I thought that maybe the video that we saw was doctored.
No, see, I love that twist because so the end of the first season, that's the whole reveal that like what you saw on the monitor, like what the people in the silo saw was always real. It was only what the people who were outside saw in their helmets that was fake. Because the people, like what Juliet thought when she was going out, she thought that she was gonna see, and what I think most like that's the twist. It's not that they're showing the people in the silo a fake image. It's that they're showing the people who go out to clean a fake image, and that's what inspires them to clean, because they think if they can clean the camera, everyone inside will see how beautiful it is, and that's the key to getting out.
Right.
But it's not beautiful. It really is like still dangerous and deadly and all this stuff.
But Juliet had the right.
She swapped the tape. So her suit.
So it's really about the tape.
So it was really about the tape. But it's not just about the tape. It's the fact that whoever designed what's going on in the silo, and this is the order, right? Like you're hearing a lot of Tim, what's his face?
Robbins.
Tim Robbins. I almost said Tim Meadows, and I'm like, not Tim Meadows, but also would be amazing if it was Tim Meadows. Tim Robbins. His character, he keeps talking about the order, and that's like why he killed the judge and all this stuff. Like there's this plan that's been laid down from the people before that kind of explains like this is the way to keep order in the silo is ultimately to pit them against the mechanical team down below, and they like this whole, all these structures and lies that they do to kind of keep things contained. And that so we know that there's this kind of like plan, and I think part of that plan was like obviously the people in Silo have this fancy tape. It's not on the suits because the intention is not to protect the people who get sent out to clean. You get sent out, you die. They just need to be alive for so many minutes to clean the thing. So
I just think that particular twist sort of like dashed all the hope that I had for these people. There is no life outside of the silo.
No, but there's still a lot of history to understand why, and you do and I think the hope is, and I think that's part of what I think is interesting with the show. The hope is dangerous. The reason that there's a rebellion that's forming inside the silo is that Juliet did give them hope. They like all the graffiti about Juliet lives, which is true. She did live. She survived, has given them hope. It's just that now it's like they believe all these lies, which, and again, they're right. They are being lied to about a bunch of stuff. And I think that's such an interesting quandary where it's like Juliet has to go back to preserve the order, not because like the people are wrong, but because no, the people are right to be questioning everything. And like, she really did live and she, all this stuff, but it's understanding that if the rebellion breaks out, everyone dies. There is no getting away from it. I understand that's like really a sort of dour, pessimistic kind of show, but I think that's fascinating. Like she's doing all this stuff in this other silo because she's discovered what happens when a situation like hers occurs, and so you're watching in real time like her
trying to undo the revolution.
Undo the revolution as it's starting to go underway back home, and like and she shouldn't have to go back. I don't know, and I don't know, like at the end of it, are we ever going to find out what really happened? And why all of this, why there are all these silos, why? Because that's the thing, you do know, like maybe it's not safe to just be wandering around, but obviously if you had the right tape and could make the right suit, you could travel from silo to silo. We now know there are a ton of silos in walking distance from each other. Who designed the system? Why is this happening?
I just realized
I'm excited to find out. It could be
we might never
seasons.
Find out. It could be seasons.
I just realized that Silo and Fallout are both on the air at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean, roughly.
That is true.
And it's very funny because like I enjoyed Fallout obviously, but it is very funny to realize that like they are so similar in some ways, but just so different in tone.
Yeah,
like just Silo is not funny. But really good.
Yeah.
Steve Zahn brought a little like not humor, but I don't know,
energy.
Something to it. Yeah.
He brought in energy, kind of a wacky. I don't know what his deal is. Yeah, he's the one survivor in the silo that Juliet got to. Who had to watch everyone else. I mean, her having to walk across a boneyard and just her continuing like, this is fine. I'll just go into the silo anyway.
That was messed up.
Yep.
All right. I have a quiz for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I also have a cloudy contact all of a sudden. So apologies. All right. So, Dan, you're going to go first. The first question, the first 7 questions it's sort of like one question with 7 parts. So this week's quiz, each of you have 10 questions, and the first question is 7 parts. You'll understand when I explain it now. So, Dan, for the first 7 questions, I will give you an actor's name, and you tell me the spy thriller the actor is in. And now,
oh my God.
I'm going to give you 4 shows. Black Doves, Slow Horses, The Agency, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Okay.
So you have to tell me which of those 4 shows these actors are in.
All right, I'm getting a piece of paper.
Black Doves, The Agency, Mr.
Slow
Mrs.
Horses.
Smith, and Slow Horses.
Yes. All right. The first one, Tracy Ullman.
The Agency.
Incorrect. That's Black Doves.
All right.
Jeffrey Wright.
Slow Horses.
No, that's The Agency. Parker Posey.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
That's correct. Hugo Weaving.
The Agency.
All famous character actors. Slow Horses. Sarah Lancashire.
Oh, Black Doves.
That is correct. Catherine Waterston.
The Agency.
I'll give you that. She was both in The Agency and Slow Horses. And finally, John Turturro.
Severance.
That is not an option.
But it's correct.
It's correct.
It is correct.
Answer. It's basically a spy thriller, Dustin. John Turturro. He wasn't in. Was he in Mr. and Mrs. Smith? No. Black Doves?
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm sorry.
Oh, God damn it.
It was, yeah. I was like, I can't remember, but I feel like he was. Yeah, he was in one episode, right?
Who was he in? Oh, yeah. Right. He's the guy they kidnap who's like annoying them.
Yeah. Who's yeah.
So you got 3 of the 7, and now you have 3 regular questions. This week, Pete Davidson revealed how much starting cast members get paid per SNL episode. Was it $1,500, $3,000, or $4,500 per episode?
3,000.
That is correct. In this coming week's episode of Shrinking, Jason Segel will reunite with what How I Met Your Mother cast member?
Kobe Smulders.
That is correct. And finally, it was announced this week that one of Yellowstone's prequels is returning in February. There are 2 named after a year. Can you name one?
1923.
Yes, very good.
Is that one actually
But it's
returning?
the other one that's returning, right?
Oh.
I don't know.
No, it's 1923 that's returning.
It is.
1883 was just 1 season and done.
Okay.
So
I was going to say 1899, but I know that's the show on Netflix from the Dark guys.
Don't bring that up. I'm not okay. That's traumatic for me.
Also, 1899 just makes me think of the Tim Roth movie, The Legend of 1900, which nobody has seen, but was by the same director who did Cinema Paradiso, which I feel like more people have seen. And
yeah,
I don't know. It just gets stuck in my head because it's one of those rare movies that I'm like, I've seen this, and most people haven't.
Yeah, I haven't.
It's really good. It's like a weird, like, magical realism kind of thing.
Ooh, I gotta look that up. Okay,
so you got 6 out of 10. So Tori, you have to get 6 out of 10 to tie.
I will not.
And actually, this one would have been easier for Dan, which is why I'm giving it to you. For the first 7 questions, I will give you a character actor's name, and you tell me what detective or lawyer series the actor is in.
Damn it!
Your choices are Elsbeth, Matlock, High Potential, and Presumed Innocent.
I don't know that I would have done better on this one.
Wait, which one is hold on? High Potential.
You know broadcast television better.
What is Presumed Innocent?
That's the lawyer show with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, the one that's based on the movie.
Apple TV.
Yeah. Okay. Jakey G. Okay.
All right. Number 1, Lily Rabe.
Presumed Innocent?
That is correct. Number 2, Garrett Dillahunt.
Oh, High Potential, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Number 3, Wendell Pierce.
What? Elsbeth.
Correct. Number 4, Bill Camp.
Matlock? No, Presumed Innocent.
I'll give it to you.
Sorry.
Bo Bridges.
Oh, I have Matlock.
Correct. Taran Killam.
High Potential.
That's correct. And Jason Ritter.
is in. It's Elsbeth or Matlock. Matlock.
That
It's
is
Elsbeth.
correct. You are
Oh my
7
God.
out of 7. You have already beaten Dan.
What?
There's no ties.
Okay, well, no. I got one of those wrong, and you gave it to me, but you can just take that off, and I just won't answer the rest.
No. You got all 7. The next question is: Alexi Hawley is planning a spin-off series to what popular cop show after its first spin-off starring Niecy Nash only lasted 1 season?
Wait.
I know this.
They're doing a second spin-off to a cop show whose first spin-off starred Niecy Nash.
And you liked it, didn't you?
Yeah.
You liked it a lot.
Well, I didn't really like the spinoff, but
you didn't. But you liked the original.
Regular, yes.
Was she in the original, and that was why it was a spinoff, or she just? No, she wasn't.
Not original. No, I mean, she did like a backdoor thing.
Right. I know we have talked about it, or at least the original, the first spinoff. I cannot think of what it's called. So I can't remember what it is right now. So I'm going to say.
Do you remember
Cop
who
Rock.
stars in it? Just out of curiosity.
No, I'm like, I know that there was a spinoff. I know she was in a cop show. No, wait, no.
Okay. Nope.
No. The Rookie. Was it a spinoff of The Rookie?
Yes, starring.
Well, The Rookie stars Nathan Fillion.
That's right.
Wait, was that the answer to the question?
The Rookie was the answer to the question.
I just had to know.
Right.
Okay.
You're now 8 for 8.
I almost said Cop Rock.
You're going for.
I was going to say Cop Rock.
The first perfect showing. Let's see.
That's not going to happen.
Number 9. In speaking to Jane Fonda on his podcast, who said they may quit their weekly talk show because he doesn't want to do another 4 years of Donald Trump?
Was it Conan?
No.
Who? Sorry, I don't know.
He's very annoying.
It was Bill Maher.
Oh, that's right. I did read about that. He is very annoying.
And finally, what comedian will not only join the Five Timers Club on December 17th, but join a select group of actors who have hosted 2 Christmas SNL episodes?
Martin Short?
That is correct. You 9 out of 10. Now you can't say
he's
a tie
only
because
joining the Five Timers Club now.
Yes,
wow.
I think he's had 11 cameos, but this is only his 5th time hosting.
That sounds wrong somehow.
Yeah,
it does. Yes,
and yet, but I get that. Like he shows up in other people's shows, but I can see him not actually getting to host.
Yeah,
like not having a project profiled high enough to like.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of his hosting stints, I believe, were. One was with Steve Martin, and I think another one was with both Steve Martin and Chevy Chase for Three Amigos.
Really?
I think so.
Poor Martin Short.
Well, I mean,
give him the spotlight.
Well, not too poor. I mean, he's Martin Short.
Yeah, he's fine. He's dating Meryl Streep. He's fine.
So I think that in order to celebrate you as as probably the biggest scoring game we've ever had, you also have to relinquish the tie somehow.
I refuse. What do you mean you have to? You're not my dad.
You cannot say that you tied and also had the highest score ever on the quiz, the Untitled Quiz.
Well, sure, I can. We had the highest score ever
collectively.
I mean, think about it.
It was the best week ever for the quiz.
For the quiz, we are all winners here.
Mm-hmm. Would it have mattered if I had switched those? Because I just thought Dan would be better at the cop shows.
I don't think I would have gotten all of the network guest stars, or actors. I would have gotten all the other questions.
Yeah, the other questions were hard. I would have. There were
guest stars.
I would have done slightly better on the spy. Like I know there was some, but I don't know that I would have overall. I don't know if I would have answered all the spy ones.
You couldn't have beat 7 out of 7. Yeah. And also, how many of those spy shows have you seen? You've seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Have either of you watched Slow Horses?
Nope.
Or The Agency?
It's on my list.
Yeah, I've heard it's great.
I don't know what that is.
Slow Horses is
Black Doves is on my list because I've been hearing good things about that.
Yeah, I've that as well.
Both of those are fantastic. So is The Agency. All three of those are better than Mr. and Mrs. Smith, honestly.
Okay. Well, now that I've finished rewatching The Good Place, maybe I'll have time to watch any of the many, many spy shows.
The Black Doves is only 6 episodes. Actually, all the Slow Horses seasons are 6 episodes.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And it requires Apple.
Slow Horses, yes. Black Doves is Netflix.
Right. And what's the agency? Showtime?
Yes, Paramount.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I can do that.
Paramount's kind of killing it right now because they have 17,000 Taylor Sheridan shows. They also have The Agency, and they have, I think next week is the Dexter prequel.
And pretty soon, I mean, they're already, Yellow Jackets trailer just came out, I think. So that's coming up next
after Dexter.
Spring. Yeah. We're only a couple months away from getting really into a show that's not quite as good as you want it to be, but also still too good to stop watching.
All true.
Yeah. That's exciting. And Paramount still has Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I watch it.
Nope, same.
Same.
And we're into, I mean, obviously last week was the last episode before the...
Oh my God, that episode was so good.
It was so good. But now, and then at the end, they were like, it's the 2-week finale. And I'm like, how? Already? Like...
Well, I guess because they made it 2-hour episodes, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Right.
It's a 2-episode, 2-week finale.
Yeah.
So it's final 6 going into that.
Yeah. But it seems like I'm assuming they'll still just get us down to 4 for the final episode.
Yeah.
Also, the last episode always includes like a chunk that's what's it called? The reunion.
Yeah, it's the reunion, and there's always a bunch of time wasted on like, I mean, just within the main episode.
The montage of like
all the montage.
How they got here.
Oh God, the montage.
Yeah. Oh.
But this week's episode, so we got to see a lot of strategy, and specifically
an unbelievable amount
from Andy. Andy's gonna win.
Well, I don't know that Andy's gonna win.
I don't know, man. Like this seems like
he's definitely come around to where he has made enough big moves, or at least been credited publicly or credited on the show with enough big moves that he is now a credible threat to win, which I can't believe.
He's insane.
I can't either.
I still wonder if that first impression is just too much to overcome, but he does now legitimately have a case.
Well, what's interesting is like that first impression was too much. Like until this week, it was like he never overcame it for me, and I think a lot of the audience kind of was like held that against him, but certainly the players didn't seem to. Everyone seemed to continue to like take him seriously, and I understand you're like on an island with someone, and you know socially you pity them, you whatever, but like it really felt like it no longer mattered to anyone, and I'm like that was a huge blow up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this week it's like he finally, it's like now that is not the thing he will be remembered for.
But after this week, is he now a bigger threat than Sam and Genevieve? So are they going to take him out next? Or are they still going to,
No, because I think they're working.
Rachel still has the, the advantages. She's still got like the inside lane to the finals.
I think the problem is that what was the majority, but now it's 3-3.
Right.
But what was the majority alliance, they still have all of the advantages, but they don't know because none of them are because Caroline is gone. There are no duos. They're not a trio. None of them have the full picture of what they can accomplish.
Yeah.
And because of that, they can't, like, they can play their individual stuff, but they can't actually.
Yeah. They need to start sharing information. They're not, they're an alliance, but not really. Like they're just out of convenience.
Yeah.
Like their whole underdog thing, it's just to get those guys out. They're not really in it. Yeah. They don't necessarily trust each other.
Yeah.
I mean, Sue this week didn't even remember Rachel's name at one point when she's like, oh, what's her face? Yeah. Like, which was hilarious. Yeah. But like, come on.
I could see them targeting Andy only because kind of like the stink of, like, the immediacy of like feeling betrayed and feeling like, let's get him out now. Like, he did this to us. Let's get, and we might even be able to pull one or two of the others.
Right. And they probably would be able to. Genevieve, certainly. I don't think Genevieve cares. Yeah. Sam might have some misguided loyalty to Andy, but like Genevieve, whatever gets her to the next,
whatever she does to save her skin.
Yeah. The part that was interesting in seeing this whole process play out, besides the fact that, like, you know, Andy kind of like running it, and because he was the one who flipped, and him being the messenger to, you know, convince everyone else to split their vote and things like that, was that I wasn't clear on the dynamic that Teeny had with Sam and Genevieve, because we saw Teeny go to them and say they're deciding between the two of you, like she's in an alliance with them, which I don't think had ever really been, even as a fake alliance, had ever been really floated. But then also, like, she kind of takes, you know, Genevieve plays her like, don't worry, I'll be fine. Like, tell them to load up on me. But Teeny didn't take that back. It never felt like she took that back and like explained the whole conversation in a way that the others could be like, wait, that's weird. Why is she so excited about that?
Yeah.
Like, are we falling into a trap?
Yeah. Well, but what was interesting was without Teeny kind of sharing that information, like, I agree. I'm not really clear on the relationship dynamics with her, which I think is just kind of a her thing because she wants to be friends with her. Like, I'm never clear on what she's doing.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, a lot of there were definitely moments where I until the final vote was read, I genuinely believed the majority was going to figure it out, because there were so many rumblings. Like, they all individually did feel uneasy. Like, you could see, like, even like Sue, I thought Sue was going to play her idol on Caroline just to be safe. Because she's like, you know, I want to make sure you're not going home. Like, you know, so Sue was starting to get a little uneasy. I think at one point, even Caroline and Rachel, I think at different points were like, why are we like pushing Andy on, like, why are we splitting this vote? Like, why are we so, why does it have to be done? Because that's the other thing. It didn't need to be split. Like, and it's interesting that he, so just to explain, like, you know, I don't think we've actually said it. Like, the majority was going to vote Sam. Andy, while on like a reward thing, Sam wins, takes Genevieve and Andy is so overjoyed at this, I guess, despite having been upset, like having, you know, thrown Sam under the bus previously for Sam's treatment of him. Decides to like make his big move, and he comes up with this plan called Operation Italy. And he's like, look, I'm going to go back. They think I'm voting with them, the underdogs. I'm going to tell them that, you know, Genevieve or one of you has an idol. Like, let's pretend that one of you has an idol, so we have a reason to split the vote. So that way, if we were to play an idol, the vote would fall to the other one. So we need to convince them, like, there's a threat of that, and we can't just vote all on one of you. We need to split the vote. That way it's, at that point, it would be 2 voting on Genevieve, 2 voting on Sam. And because they're assuming Andy's voting with them, but Andy isn't, he votes with Sam and Genevieve, that makes them a trio. They would win, and they get out. They chose to get out Caroline. So it was like, it should not have worked. And the fact that it did was genuinely impressive. Like, and that was all on Andy, like, talking it up to this group, you know, all of them. and talking about how nervous he was, and Genevieve has an idol, I'm sure of it, and that's why like Genevieve flashes it to Teeny and stuff like that, and they, we have to split the vote. Which at that point, even if Genevieve has an idol, it's like, you guys wanted to vote out Sam anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a really interesting amount of, and the number of people, like, I feel like Rachel and Caroline both registered sort of like, I don't know that we need to do it this way, and like were convinced otherwise. Sue could have, like, was about to play her idol, or like definitely talked about playing her idol on Caroline just to be safe. Like, there were so many opportunities for this to go wrong, and they didn't.
Right. Or they could have used, so even though not everyone knew or knows about Sue's idol, nobody knows about Rachel's idol, but they all publicly know about the block a vote. So even in a worst case scenario, they could have said, something feels funny, let's use the block a vote just in case, just to get one more vote on our side.
Right.
But they also didn't do that.
I think what happens is when you get down to the final 7, you feel like if you can just hang on to that advantage for one more day, that you'll make it to the final 4. So I think that they were all sort of reluctant to play those advantages at this stage, because they just thought, we got to hang on.
Right.
And it was also like, and this is where it goes to that thing of like Andy believing he's a great actor. And I guess at this point I have to agree, because sitting at home, you're like, this is the most obvious thing. The fact that the underdog, whatever the so-called underdog alliance, like, they didn't question him when he came back from this reward and was like, oh, it was disgusting, they were sucking up to me, or whatever he was saying, and they didn't question it. It's like, I would immediately be questioning anything that came out of his mouth, because he just had a delicious meal with the 2 biggest threats. Like, why would you not think he might have be in league with them? Like,
and he hasn't shown particular allegiance to anybody.
To anyone.
He flip-flops every week.
Every week. So it's, so I kind of go back to, like, obviously the plan was his, and that was really good gameplay. But there's a certain amount of this that is, was he such a good actor, or was everyone just really kind of complacent and like not thinking clearly? Because I'm like, they should have been questioning him.
I think that they didn't expect that of him. They didn't give him enough credit.
Yeah. And the other piece of it is that to be just Dustin, to your point about thinking about trying to get to the end, as much as it hurts, so this hurts obviously the game of everyone on the formerly underdog alliance, but Rachel had immunity, so she was safe no matter what.
She was fine.
And also still nobody knows about her idols, so she didn't have to play it. I could see her thinking, forget it, let me save the block a vote for, next time if I need it. Sue, again, like, as much as she wanted Caroline to stay, she also still has an idol that now nobody knows about. Right. So she is guaranteed, as long as even if she plays it next tribal, at worst she's at 5.
Right.
So I could see them, the 2 of them, kind of like doing that kind of math and deciding, you know what, it's fine. Like, even if something happens, I will be fine through at least 5.
Yeah. Teeny, I just don't see.
I feel like Teeny's kind of the one person I don't see a real path right now.
She has done nothing. The only reason she gets through is like that everyone else is a bigger threat. Right. I don't see her. She would never win.
I don't see a path for her to win right now.
She has done nothing.
And I can't imagine the jury is a fan.
No.
I'm mostly terrified for Rachel because she's playing the best game, and everyone now sees it, and they're all targeting her, or at least the strong players are targeting her.
Right. But they have been for a while, and she's been skating through.
Right, but it's because she's been winning immunity.
Yeah. Without Kyle, she wins immunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, Sam had a few weeks where he was the most perceptive player, but I don't think at this point, I feel like for the most part, obviously there are advantages that people don't know about, but for the most part, now that Andy has kind of revealed his true self, there are no secrets left. So I'm not sure that Sam, and he's never been, I mean, he won this one thing, but he's not much of a winner in physical challenges.
Right.
So I'm curious, like, it is still funny to me that people perceive him as like a giant threat when I'm like, he never really has been. The whole, like, should we vote out Sam or Genevieve? It's like, Genevieve.
Yeah.
Like, 100%. Yeah, I think but this week is going to be really interesting because now you have 2 groups of 3 theoretically. But yeah, one group has all the advantages, and it really comes down to who wins the next immunity.
But the other group has the secret advantage, Andy.
Except he's not a secret anymore.
I know. Yeah.
And he's really, but now that everyone knows, it's like no one will ever believe him. But he did what he needed to do at the right moment. Like I thought all of his talk about being whatever, a spider or whatever, was just crap, but he did it, man.
Yeah. He's impressive.
Yeah. One of the best, like, that was a genuinely impressive move.
That was worth losing Pod Save America guy.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it is, I do think it's like, it's just so much of it comes down to, because it's such a social game, it's not just the person with the plan being so good, it's everyone else being a little dim at the right time.
Right.
Like, they just were too trusting and did not follow their instincts. So, who do you think's going to win?
Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope it's Rachel.
I don't see how, unless she loses in the fire challenge somehow, I don't see how she does it.
Yeah.
I think I want Rachel to win. I kind of think I see the path for Genevieve more than anybody else. I mean, outside of Rachel. Because I think Rachel now to me is kind of in the Kyle seat where she has, I mean, the fact that she has the idol helps a lot, but I think she's vulnerable to go out at 4 with fire. She's vulnerable to go out if she doesn't win immunity. At, one of the next 2, or if she doesn't win, she has to win immunity at one of the next 2. And because then she's guaranteed to 4, and then she probably has to win at 4.
But she's got the block vote, which is enough maybe to save her.
I don't know. It depends on. I mean, if everyone agrees that she's the
everyone gangs up.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like Andy now has become a bigger target. I think Genevieve could slide by and have the one thing is that I don't know that Genevieve has, by her own admission, she doesn't necessarily have the right relationships with the jury.
Yeah.
I think that could be the problem. But like, if it's, say, like her, Teeny, and Sue, or her, Teeny, and even Andy, I could see her making the better case.
Yeah. I think, if you got her in front of a jury, I think she would do.
Yeah.
She would make a strong case.
Yeah.
I think part of it for her is that, like, everyone understands that she's a threat, and she never, like, I don't see her winning any immunities. So yeah, it really, for her at this point, it's hoping that the group starts to perceive other people as bigger threats than her.
Yeah.
So obviously she's targeting Rachel, which is accurate. Will Andy also slide up the scale above her? I don't know. Like, but I think for me, I don't see her winning immunity.
Right.
So Rachel obviously has a track record of it. Sue has a track record of, like, or getting close enough that with this few people she could.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised Sue hasn't won yet, because she's been close a couple times.
Oh yeah. Didn't she win once when it was guys and girls? She won the, like, first there was one where they separated, they gave 2 immunities and Sue got it. Yeah, Sue, I feel bad because I feel like she actually has a shot of making it all the way in. I just don't know what her story would be. Like, I don't know that she's done anything other than find that idol.
Well, they all
lie about her age.
Yeah, they all
lie about
she's
her
45.
age, which is fun. Like, what if that's your whole thing? Like, you didn't
Oh, yeah, I think
realize
it might be.
I'm
Yeah.
58 and everyone's like, you're 6. Like, we 100% knew that.
Yeah. I've been contouring my face.
I've been contouring
with
my face.
soot.
Oh my gosh.
2 weeks left. Very exciting. 2 2-hour episodes left.
I can't believe it.
So, all right. Well, the duck is about to quack, but I do only because I have finally finished watching Interior Chinatown. Please clap. I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So this came out about 3 weeks ago now. On Hulu. It's limited series based on the novel by Charles Yu, who also created the show. It's hard to explain, but the gist is Jimmy O Yang plays a character named Willis Wu, who he is a waiter in Chinatown, but he, from a plot standpoint at least, the police come in because there's a murder in Chinatown, and he gets involved, and through his involvement tries to look into the disappearance of his brother. The show itself has a lot of kind of insane meta elements, which are similar. It's not exactly the same as the book, but it's similar in that, like, a lot of the show is kind of presented as like you're in a cop show, and so he's like essentially, it's almost like he's like an extra in this cop show starring these two cops uh, who are, the show is called Black and White. It's a black cop and a white cop, um, and like they're solving like Law and Order style murders, and then he just happens to be like, the random person in the background. And so, but as he tries to solve the murder, and also because he's like attracted to Chloe Bennett, who's like the Asian cop in the cop show,
The Chinatown expert.
right? The Chinatown expert. And but as he gets involved, he kind of like switches roles within the framework of the plot to get more access, but like he becomes tech guy, and they don't notice that he's the same person because they never pay attention to tech guy. It's just whoever who enhances the photos for them. And
some of it's very on the nose, like delivery. Like there's one episode he has to be the delivery guy because that's literally how he can get into
right.
The
He realizes that that's all they see him as, so that's how the door literally will not open for him unless he comes in as the delivery guy.
Right. So there's a certain amount of like the meta parts of the world, like the world operates as a TV show, and it's like he's literally, by changing his role, gaining access to further himself throughout because like the world like does not work for him.
Right. And so this is not actually that the show is very different overall from the book, but this is kind of like the conceit of the book is that the book is written, it's actually written mostly in screenplay format, and it's written as like second person, so you're hearing like you're Willis kind of. But it's written as like the world is a TV show, and you've played these roles and you're hoping to get a bigger role, but this is, you've been like the murder victim, and you've been like the background person at the restaurant, and you've done these things, but you're trying to make your mark, which is similar to Willis's journey throughout the show. The biggest place it diverges is that, and I understand why they did this, but in the book, the world is just the way the world is. Like everyone understands it, everyone accept, it's like as if everyone just knows, oh yeah, we live in this TV show and this is what we do. The show takes a choice of Willis kind of like describing his life as if it's a show, but he's essentially discovering over the course of the season that he's in a TV show. And that's not clear. It's not clear to him. It's not clear to anyone really. But
and other characters notice it too, because there's a lot of like them realizing that like when the two main detectives show up, when it's like within the TV show we're watching, there are moments where the cop show arrives.
Yeah.
And the lights change, and like the mood
tone
shifts,
yeah.
everything. And it's like, and then once those characters move out of frame, the lights shift back to normal. And it's like, oh, what we've been watching, our characters can continue about their lives.
Right. And so that's the part where I have the biggest struggle with the show, I think, because overall I liked it. There were some things that I really enjoyed, but the thing that I don't know how they could have done it, and in a better, like, I don't have an answer, but
right.
The thing that was so powerful about the book was that the format and the character journey worked together in a way that made it pretty powerful emotionally, I think, versus like in the book, the emotional journey and the plot journey are kind of split in a way that, like, it doesn't
in the show, you mean?
in the show, yeah. So you end up, I feel like, within the show, the emotion was harder to tack on to this mystery. And so, like, all the characters who I felt like emotionally satisfied with are all the characters on the side where their journey is in like one world.
Yeah.
And so they can have kind of a normal trajectory. And so it's satisfying. But because so much of his story is centered around this conspiracy of like what's happening, what's the world actually like, that it kind of it just makes the balance feel off. And I think the things that should have felt emotionally satisfying from the main character's story are, it's just harder to land. And I think sometimes it doesn't land in the way that it does in the book, in the way that the book is, more resonant.
I agree. Like, it's one of the things, and it's something, and again, it's like, I actually really enjoyed it about the show, but I did notice as the show went on, the main character, his emotional journey, his emotional state, the impact of what he experienced or his journey, like, just it kept getting more and more removed.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I actually liked what the show was doing, the plot, because part of it is like the first, half of the season, let's say, it's really him just switching roles. Like, he keeps taking, every episode is a new role for him as he gets deeper into the mystery, gains more access to different parts of the world, whatever, but it's all within this one style of cop show.
Right.
Then there comes a moment where he becomes a detective. And the whole joke in this is that, like, nobody is like, the qualifications for who becomes a detective are non-existent. Like, it doesn't
like Chloe
make any
Bennett
sense.
became a detective after being like a nurse and whatever, just
a bar back or whatever. It's like, she just, but everyone buys it and she's a detective. And so he ends up becoming the next detective. And from that point on, the genre shifts. It's still a detective show, but they do a different intro. And it's like, it's almost more of a like a Mayor of Easttown, or one of the more like,
well, they did like
intimate,
True Detective style
True
credits.
Detective. Oh, that was the style. It's a different style. It's not Law and Order. Like, it's suddenly a more intimate, like, all the characters, like the woman detective suddenly has her hair down, like everything's a little different. So they're actually changing the genre as it proceeds. And that's where it got harder to follow, because it's like his journey is no longer tied to his role in the show, but is tied to the type of show. And it kind of became to, like, there's an episode where it's him shooting ads, because he's both a detective, but, like, it's not that he's an actor in a detective show. It's like, because you can't quite do that divide either. It's that the show is so popular that he as a detective is popular as if he's an actor. And so he as a detective does advertisements.
And this detective does ads like a celebrity.
And that, and so it just starts piling on the meta. And so you're having to navigate, like, his emotional journey while he's doing a watch ad. And you're like, where am I?
And that's the part where, definitely felt like they're piling on so many different ideas that it gets there's a lot of stuff that works, and there's a lot of stuff that's
right.
interesting or funny or
Yeah.
Definitely not like other TV shows, but
Yeah.
it makes it pulls you further from that.
It pulls you, yeah. You start feeling a distance, and it's not, and yeah, like you said, it's not like the show was a disaster. I still really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it. I was hooked throughout. But it was a challenging watch at some moments.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't easy. And I think like a show like that can't be. Like it just, it was taking some really big swings. And sometimes I think the conceptual stuff got in the way of maybe the emotional stuff. But, sometimes that's a sacrifice. Sometimes you just got to make a really cool TV show, and maybe, why a character's doing something at a given time doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did like how the corporation or whatever, the like kind of the reveal of the channel or the conspiracy, the people who are running the show and the world. It was Hulu.
Yeah.
Was in the name. It was like the Chinese god of the afterlife, but it's what's the acronym? HWBC, whatever.
Yeah, HWBC, I think.
Yeah. But it was.
But yeah, the
Hulu.
H is Hulu. Yeah.
The H is Hulu.
Yeah. It felt like it was headed toward a. I'm actually glad they didn't do this swerve, but it felt like it was headed toward kind of a She-Hulk-esque, like we're gonna go into, Disney headquarters kind of situation. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's worth watching. Dustin got as far as he could, and which is pretty good for Dustin.
Thanks.
He made it 4 episodes in. I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
Honestly. You would not have probably been that happy if you continued.
I don't think so. Yeah.
But I really liked it.
But it's still worth it, not just for kind of like the genre bending, but the cast is great.
Oh yeah.
Ronnie Chang has a great arc.
Yeah. When he throws Wallace into the hot sauce.
Vat of hot sauce.
Yeah, so there's like a whole sidebar with his character where he becomes so when Wallace leaves and starts becoming a delivery man and then tech guy, he's like out of the restaurant a lot.
Yeah.
So the restaurant
and they were
owner,
best friends and like waiters.
Right. Well, but he was like kitchen staff.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. He wasn't a waiter.
He was fatty. He was a kitchen staff, and Wallace was the waiter. And so when Wallace is gone, his uncle is like, all right, fatty, you gotta go out front. You gotta be a waiter. And he hates it. He doesn't want to deal with people. But he becomes really popular as the mean waiter.
Right.
Because he just yells at especially all of the white people who come into this Chinatown restaurant.
And then they love it. And all the hipsters start coming.
So the place is packed.
Yeah.
And so now they're like desperate. They're like, Wallace, where are you? And like, he's not coming back, but also they can't, like, this fatty Ronnie Chang has to be a waiter.
Right.
So it's also like he in a way has taken on a new role and he gets stuck. So he becomes so popular that he decides to spin that to capitalize on his own notoriety and make a hot sauce, but he's not making his own hot sauce. He just steals the hot sauce. It's whatever they serve in the restaurant.
Yeah, the basic hot sauce they have at the restaurant.
The basic Chinese, but he's like, white people don't know that. So he like puts, and he calls it Chinese suffering.
Yeah.
And bottles it and starts selling it. So he becomes a hot dog like magnate, or a hot sauce magnate. And then from there, but then starts getting upset because somebody else has stolen his recipe, and
like
it becomes
this white hipster stolen his own hot sauce.
Yeah. It gets very absurd, and it's kind of easy to get lost in how absurd everything else in the show is, but there's a really nice little like build with his character's journey throughout.
And I mean, even the way that the restaurant changes because of that. So like it goes from being kind of like neighborhood Chinese restaurant to once Fatty yells at a couple of hipsters and like they start showing up, then like they start changing the menu and it becomes very like American Chinese food.
Right.
To the point where by the end of the season, they're serving like all you can eat shrimp because it's now fully catering to American palates.
Right. Even though one of the big complaints was like Fatty yelling at the white patrons because they were ordering things like whatever, orange chicken, and it's like, you want your chicken covered in like like a dipping sauce. Like, what is wrong with you? Order, like, don't drink ice white or drink tea. You're in a Chinese restaurant. Like, why would you come here if you don't want to eat what we would eat?
Right.
Like, so there's a lot of sort of sense of identity and roles that you are expected to play in the face of other.
Right.
Throughout. And I like that it's not just Wallace's journey is very obvious, because he's literally, every episode is titled what kind of person he's becoming.
Right.
But it reflects through all of the different characters.
Yeah. Same with his mother's journey.
As a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And Chloe too, to a certain extent. Like Chloe does, Chloe's character does the reverse. She starts out as a detective.
Right.
Loses becoming a detective. She ends up back as a waiter.
Yeah.
She ends up working at the restaurant.
But her journey is also coded by the fact that she's mixed. And so she doesn't have the same connection to this community that, the others do.
She has to kind of, to get what she needs, she has to kind of get into, she has to find, like, she partners up with Wallace initially because he is the real Chinatown expert.
Right.
But nobody will perceive him. So he gives her the information and then she presents it and suddenly she's right.
Right.
What I did not understand was, and tell me, did you pick up on that? Like, so the reveal is, you find out the reason she's interested in all this and partners up with Wallace is she's also investigating his brother's disappearance because she was dating him. But he disappeared like 12 years beforehand.
Yeah.
She has not aged a day.
Mm-hmm.
What?
That was weird, but it's funny because I thought it was weird for a different reason. Mostly that, like, I thought it was weird to make her the love interest for two brothers.
Yeah.
Who are also, like 10-ish years apart in age, maybe. I don't know. It's weirdly, that didn't bother me, even though, because there are other characters who it turns out don't age or like have gone through weird stuff but then not aged.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I mean, there are also characters who die and then aren't dead and go, like, that's the whole thing, is that all the dead bodies in the cop show aren't really dead. They just
they're respawning, basically.
They're respawning. Yeah.
So I guess it didn't bother me. It is weird.
Okay.
Also, that time, I don't know why they chose 12 years. I don't remember what happened in the book. I feel like in the book the brother is missing, but I don't think it's that much time, or it doesn't feel like it was that much time, but it feels like a weirdly long amount of time.
Yeah.
Which I don't necessarily understand why they did that, because it's not like a significant number that I can think of, but
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird show. People should still watch it.
Yes.
I think within like the first episode or two, you'll know if it's for you. Like, it's one of those. Yeah.
But stick with it, because it does, even though it does get weirder, it also goes to some really interesting places. So if you're intrigued, like, give it another episode, because it will always surprise you.
Yeah. Dustin did his best.
Sorry, Dustin.
It's not enough of a Taylor Sheridan.
Not enough Taylor Sheridan for me.
Yeah. Needed more long speeches about oil fields or wind things or something.
Horses.
Yeah.
Horses. Well, I'm just glad that there's enough TV that caters to you.
Yeah, it's, middle-aged white guys. We don't get enough TV. But occasionally, Taylor Sheridan will make us a show.
Occasionally.
Dustin, if we were to re-rank all of the streaming services, would Paramount Plus now become the most essential?
No, I mean, I'm still an Apple TV Plus guy.
I don't know. It has Survivor. It has all the Sheridan shows.
Yeah.
But, like, I enjoy the Sheridan shows, but, like, I understand that they're not good. I think Landman's kind of good. But they're mostly kind
Isn't Lioness good? I haven't watched it.
No.
Oh.
No. I mean, they're like I don't know. There really are like Sorkin shows, like not the good ones, not West Wing, and not Sports Night, but like News Night on a ranch or an
News Night,
oil field. News, sports,
the newsroom,
the newsroom? Yeah, that's it.
News Night. He's gonna make a News Night next, probably. Does he make shows anymore?
No, he just does movies now.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he gets to direct them.
Plays too.
Yeah. All right. Well, a cat may or may not have pooped that I have to clean up. So that's the show. I was like, what is that smell? We'll be back next week with, I think we can, it's not a spoiler. Next week is the big holiday show.
Woohoo!
We'll have special guests. Dustin will have an expanded game. I don't know what we're actually going to talk about other than, I guess we'll talk about
Survivor.
Survivor and our favorite show of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Best of the year. Is it going to be Chicken Nugget? Who can say? But yeah, come back for that next week and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.